This is just a little like short client testimonial. We began working together in about October through like first through like my consulting, but then yeah, you eventually hired me to be the CMO for Crew, so that's such an honor and privilege. So yeah, I'd love to just like hear a little bit, well, since you're the founder, the best one to give an intro of like what Crew is.
Yeah, so Crew, we are a tech-enabled services marketplace. We specialize in specifically taking your trash can to and from the curb, mainly for Airbnb homeowners who may not be able to do that for their guests, or the guests don't want to do it. And then inevitably they have to pay, a handyman $150 to empty the can. So we take care of that, getting it to and from the curb. Simple service. We'll be expanding into non-Airbnb homes here in the near future, but it's been a wild ride thus far. It's been super successful.
Yeah, for sure. You always make this joke, even when I met you, saying that, this like dumb trash takeout idea. But you also conveyed it so simply to me when you said this is DoorDash, but for Airbnb, like that just makes it so easy. I'm sure the investors even really liked it too, right?
Yeah. It's easy for people to like wrap their head around what the service is. It is a pretty simple service, but it's more of just like being able to offer it into all these different markets. So yeah, we've seen a lot of really good traction. You guys have been a big part of, or your agency was a big part in the beginning, and then now you, as we brought you on as a head of marketing for Crew. But it's been exciting to see the growth on all the different marketing channels that we've been able to push the product through.
Yeah. And I'm curious because since it's your first SaaS startup before you have a huge Airbnb portfolio yourself, but it's your first tech company. So what do you think led to the such fast success?
That's a good question. I think part of it was our product is really good on the back end, right? Because to manage the number of jobs that we started to scale, we needed to make sure the infrastructure was in place. So part of that's our co-founder, Jordan, just being able to build and anticipate what we need to build from a product standpoint to manage all these jobs down the road, which now we're seeing, 22,000 stops a month, right? So it's getting pretty large scale, and it's going to continue to grow. I think another part of the success is just in this niche. I don't know if I would be as successful in other SaaS, but probably because I have the industry knowledge and just the story, right? So being able to relate to all these homeowners who have Airbnbs, I have 30 myself, and knowing all the pain points with trash and the pain points for everything really, but being able to, connect with them at a deeper level has really helped fuel growth because people trust us. I think just because of like our story, and they can relate to my story, and they know that I have Airbnbs, so I'm not trying to pull a fast one on them, and neither are my sales reps.
Yeah. Would you give advice to other founders that they should maybe, if they were to do another startup, it should be for something that they're highly knowledgeable on, such as they were from that industry, or you think it doesn't matter and anyone could succeed in anything?
I think it depends. I think like the strongest founders, probably you're solving some sort of pain point some learned insight that they had access to that someone else didn't. Because that's where the like passion comes from, right? Because I think there's a big, like passion plays a big role into like how you present the business, how you present the startup. I'm very passionate on this space. People can tell. If it was another business, I'm sure I would be successful, but the passion might not come through the same way.
Right. And then yeah, going into how we originally met, could you tell a little story about that?
Yeah, so I saw an ad, we got on a call, you basically sold me from your past experience in the startup world, which I did not have, and then just saying, hey, we can run mainly Facebook, Instagram ads for you and kind of run the process and get some creatives. And so we did a lot of A/B testing with you, got our Facebook page up and running, and then I think we've learned a lot in the last year, but I think immediately we started to get a lot of qualified leads. Now, whether we could service those leads is another story, because like our product isn't everywhere yet, but as our company's grown to be able to service more areas, like it seems like it's becoming more and more fruitful.
Yeah, and weren't you running Facebook ads already prior to us, and you spent a decent amount, or was that not yet?
I think we tested something. Like we had someone who wasn't very experienced, and we basically got nothing from it. So like the way you structured it with the lead form, and then the different areas and the dollars per day, like it was I loved how systematized it was. And then, I would even suggest things to you, and you would say, well, we need to run the numbers and split test and do this before we can, like, gut feels good, and that does play a part, but what do the numbers say? I love that.
Yeah. I'm definitely super data driven. So many people, especially ad agencies, I don't know if I could say the word scam, but the whole corruption with the industry is they want to keep you on a retainer. So they're going to make you, they're going to do busy work to make you feel like you need them. And they'll do things like, hey, I'm always testing creatives. But if you're running like 20 different creatives every single week and testing that, then where are you actually getting, right? You don't actually know what works and what doesn't. So just for everyone watching to know, we found this one creative that worked, and then we actually ran it for 6 months with no fatigue. In fact, it's incredible. We worked more on the RevOps side, where the MRR started going higher. Like we had 2.5k MRR collected in like 1 month, and the next month it was 5k. But it was the same ad, and it was getting more and more repeated impressions. But we were still scaling. So it's often not really a creatives issue. And yeah, one of the privileges I had was that Cam is such an open-minded CEO. He put his trust in me, and then yeah, and he let me run things my way. So yeah, the creatives aren't the issue, and I would say, Cam, did you feel like visually that creative that we ran was that different from the one that you ran before working together?
No, it was probably pretty similar. I would say maybe the text was different, the call to actions, like the description was different, and that's where I think you really shined. But to be honest, I would say the creative, I wouldn't say it was like the most high quality thing I'd ever seen, but that's almost the beauty of it. You don't need necessarily like this huge budget on an ad creative for it to be successful. And that's kind of what you showed me actually, was like, hey, some of these just normal looking ads are very successful, but you don't need to blow your budget on something that's unnecessary.
Right. That's something I'm on a mission to debunk myself. And yeah, now that we proved that ads are successful, like Tanner, our CFO and investors, they're more okay with us spending money on ads. So now we invested on, a creative agency that shot something high quality, right? So, but we got to our first million with like a stupid image ad, and I bet if you tell like your other startup friends, they wouldn't even believe it.
Yeah, actually, I didn't think about that. Yeah, we pretty much hit a million with that first ad creative and plus some
Yeah.
outbound marketing for the sales
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, exactly. So, for everyone else's context, we Cam also ran the same image of a gig runner taking out the trash, but then I had different text on it. So, the offer, the call out, the targeting is very important. You don't have to use lead forms, but then we would DQ questions such as to make sure that we served their market, how many properties they had, and then from there we kept improving our sales, automated SMS processes, and we just kept improving RevOps. We charge higher, we close more properties. Now that we have this video ad that's building brand equity, we're getting bigger firms coming in, but that's yeah, just not something you need to get product market fit and get your first million ARR. So yeah, I'm so proud, and I'm telling everybody all the time, like we did this in a matter of months with such like lean resources, and that's one of the things I've been talking to you about, that Netflix book. No, I think it's called No Rules Rules. I read it for when I worked at my first startup, but it's about how Netflix, they built such a lean team in order to scale up. It's about hiring just a handful of superstar rockstar execs, just like we have on our team, and that's all it really took, right? So I think if I were to answer that first question I gave you, it would be about how like you picked the right executives, and we did such a lean team. When we raised the seed round, we just had to scale up by literally hiring more sales guys.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's exciting to see like where the ads are gonna continue to evolve as we grow some of these like larger accounts that come in. Because right now, I think the metrics are showing us that about a third our closes are from inbound, but I feel like that's just going to continue to grow, especially as our ad budget grows. So like I could see like us approaching like the 50 to 60% of all of our closes coming from inbound. So yeah, it's exciting to see. I think that number just continues to go up. Yeah, we'll see over the next year.
Oh, here's another great topic to debunk. So you said 30% right now is from inbound, but what would you say the majority of the rest is coming from?
The majority of the rest for us is really like our outbound motion. Well, our outbound motion is like very call heavy, so we'll call city lists, we'll call, we get data from different vendors for like who owns Airbnbs. But here's the crazy thing is I think only a third are coming from inbound right now, but we haven't even started the email inbound motion. We haven't even started like having a form on our website. Like what does that motion look like, right? We're just about to launch that
Yeah.
because our form is only on the Facebook ad. Once email comes in, like even mailers, like all that's gonna totally change, like from an inbound perspective, and we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, so it's incredible. Basically, what you're saying is we found product market fit with only two channels, which is paid ads and then outbound cold calling, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then like I think outbound LinkedIn will be good if we can start when we start doing those sequences,
Yeah.
and we can start targeting some of those big firms. Like that's what I'm saying. Like we've just scratched the surface on what's possible for some of like the automations and marketing automations that your team can put into play.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, something to debunk here is that people think they need a million different unique mechanisms, marketing channels. But now that we really perfected our pitch through cold outbound and cold calling and then inbound as for paid ads, I think now we're ready to put someone directly, exclusively on the task of maybe LinkedIn or SEO or another channel. We have the resources to as well. The company's not gonna go under if, LinkedIn or anything fails, right? And I really believe in the fact that people could just do any channel but spend the proper 10,000 hours in perfecting it just like a skill or a business. And that channel could end up working out. And that's what RevOps is. So it's one of the things I teach in my own consulting. I think we can pick two channels. The more popular ones are better. Of course, like paid ads and cold calling, and perfect that. And, anyone can make their first million doing that, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, we have a very sustainable business that'll continue to grow just with those channels. And I love that we're really good at them now. And then it's like everything else is going to be icing on the cake and the cherry on top because it'll be experimentation. But I can't imagine it not adding to our top line.
Yeah, yeah. So many people that I consult, all of these startup founders, they would come onto the call talking about how they're pivoting now. This week, I'm going to try this new AI LinkedIn tool or cold email or even trade shows, right? We do get some leads from trade shows, but I feel like even if we took it out, we would still be where we are today just from those two channels, right? Like any of the other access channels.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're totally right. Yeah, just trade shows. We're experimenting, right? So it's like all these other channels. How are they going to add? And they're only adding to our top line. So,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
do
It's
feel like our bread and butter is really solid. So like if we only had to rely on those two channels, we'd still be really good.
Exactly. So trade shows and the other stuff, it's just icing on the cake, but we have a true revenue like system because every time we raise money, we can just it's like a money duplication glitch. Like we just need to hire more sales guys. Or it's still Jordan and like we only have one or two developers like full time as well. Everyone thinks they need to raise so much capital and like Notion be in a deficit for like 5, 8, 10 years, but we're doing so well in just our first year. I really contributed to being an experience. We talk about gaming sometimes, so it's sort of like we're like Smurfs but in the startup world even. And yeah, we're a team of Smurfs, right? Yeah.
I'm bronze. You can be flat.
For sure, for sure. And then what about the systems that we built? Can you make any comments on that?
Yeah, so some of the systems, so Jonathan was instrumental. Like we were just a raw piece of clay. So he really helped put in some of like the key infrastructure in place. So having us work within HubSpot, and then helping bring someone from his team, one of his automation experts, to tie in HubSpot to our auto dialer, which was another system that you pushed us to use, which was Nooks AI, and that's been awesome.
Yeah.
So HubSpot ties into our auto dialer. Then we also have GHL, which ties into our inbound leads, and there's an automated text sequence when leads opt in on the Facebook form. So a lot of that infrastructure building was really key, and then getting the automation engineer in to help us like be able to have the tools to scale.
Right, right. It really just comes down to, I think, experience where we know what's going to work the first time since we've all been in our areas before. So yeah, it's incredible. The systems, still think we can get more organized, of course, which we're still working on day by day by building out the CRM and stuff. But I think the key point here is that the creative and the marketing, it's really just maybe I think 10% of our efforts, right? It's top of funnel. We get looks on, our website, our brand, but then like it doesn't even come close at all to what we actually do to get to where we are, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So it's such a small portion. It's the systems that we build. It's our incredible sales team. We have a great app and production as well. But yeah, it's really end to end RevOps. Yeah, I think just to close out, would you say there's any advice that you would give to startup founders that maybe perhaps it's been years of them at sort of a plateau in the business?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, maybe to your point where it's like don't go so wide sometimes on all the different channels. Maybe pick two or three channels to go deep to see what really works because product market fit is like the most important thing to a startup. Like you can build product, you can do all this validation, but unless you truly found your sales motion, your startup will die. Like you have to go deep into a motion to figure out is it cold calling? Is it Facebook ads? Is it email outreach? Is it mailers? Is it LinkedIn outbound, right? Like what is it that's going to make you get the customer to prove product market fit? Like don't be afraid to go deep into one of those channels. Because if you go too wide and you don't know and it's like too surface level, like your startup can die.
Right. Oh, actually, one more thing. How pivotal do you think it was that we raised the 3 mil seed round, or you think maybe some founders don't need it because not everyone is capable of raising that?
It just depends on the type of business. If you're like a very AI, super high margin, 95% margin, like you might not need to raise it, but at the same time, like I'm personally in the camp of like you need to raise capital to scale and to be able to like test all these different methods, right? Like, because I don't
Right.
know if we would have known whether this stuff would have worked as well as it's working on a $2,000 a month budget, right? Like, yeah, like we would have had a tenth of the leads, but maybe we wouldn't have had the conviction that like this was as good because the right eyeballs weren't getting onto the ads, right? So like I think raising was pivotal, especially with the type of business that we have, and we're sort of in like this land grab mode, expansion mode. It's not for everyone, but I think if you're serious and you want to blitz scale something, like you have to raise.
I see. But even when we were bootstrapping, wasn't our ad spend only about 3K per month, and then you were doing calls yourself, and we still got to six figures ARR, right?
Yeah, that I mean, yeah, that is true. Like, I'm not like discounting that at all. I'm
Uh-huh.
just saying if you want to like blitz it, right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
like as founder-led sales, like the 2 to 3K was enough to like sort of like give us some of that use case, test case, and then we're like, well, if we had more money, what would the numbers look like? And that's where the raise came in.
Right, right. Yeah, so definitely I think to summarize for everyone, I think we really value building a lean superstar rockstar team just like in No Rules Rules, the Netflix book. Everyone should definitely go check it out. And yeah, building something efficient. I think your learnings when you only sell one offer and product instead of building something new every week is that it compounds and then you figure out how to get better show up rates, lower cost per lead. You close more deals at higher prices at bigger deals. I think Cam the other day closed 70 properties at once. Like that's just insane, right? He's just a founder that does this part-time too. So he's not even one of the full-time sales reps. And you compound learning so much and things just get so easy when you actually raise when you don't need to raise. That's when the best results come. So yeah, it's such a pleasure having you on today, Cam. And then I'll talk to you actually tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Jonathan.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Cam.